or even like, wanting to feed someone for the rest of their lives. That's not necessarily fulfilling the Bodhisattva vow. Yeah, not helping in that way. So there are so many things about the path that can lead you to and unintentionally feed your limited view, limited capacity. Feed the small mind and say, oh no, I can't. The best I can do is to ensure that I am not a problem to others. That's it. Don't, is saying here. Guard against that. Even if there are limits to what you can do for others, you don't let your practice be motivated by only thinking about yourself. Therefore, I myself should attain the state of perfect and complete Buddha. In other words, if you want this for others, it makes no sense that you yourself don't want it for yourself and you don't know how to get there. So first you need to want this for yourself and you need to want to get there. And therefore I need to get there ASAP. For that purpose, I will engage in the stages of Dharma practice, of meditation and accomplishment. The middling one is to think, for the sake of all dreamlike and illusion-like sentient beings attaining perfect awakening, I will do this or that. And the concise one is to think, for the sake of all dreamlike and illusion-like, see, this dreamlike, illusion-like is always there. Otherwise, you have the love and compassion aspect, you don't have the wisdom aspect. And that's why Bodhicitta is not just love and compassion. The wisdom, the insight, the understanding that beings in the end are dreamlike and illusion-like. And therefore their suffering is also dreamlike and illusion-like. And therefore their happiness even is also dreamlike and illusion-like. Them and us are dreamlike and illusion-like. Right? The concise one is to think, for the sake of all dreamlike and illusion-like sentient beings, I will engage in this Dharma practice. So this, over the weekend, on Saturday, I shared a little bit about this. And there I pointed out, and here I'll point out again. Often when we talk about perfecting the two wings of enlightenment, wisdom and compassion, through the two accumulations, the accumulation of wisdom and the accumulation of merit, we perfect, we complete the two wings of enlightenment, which is wisdom and compassion. Often when we say that, we think it is about, or it is only about, making these two to the maximum. We think it's that. But I feel that it's not even so much about making it to the maximum, making these two reach the highest they can go. But it's more about making these two more and more unified and seamless. Seamless. No division. Why? Because, at least where we are standing now, the idea of being so concerned, so much love, so much compassion, requires us, at least in our current understanding, to at least think that the suffering is real, and the beings are real, and I am real. Right? If I'm not real, If others are not real, and therefore happiness and suffering is not real, what's the point? You see? So we need to get it to be very real.
And it's unreal.
Well, no need to go there yet, right? We need to get it very real. And in fact, the world is telling us, right? If you don't see how real this is, then you won't do anything about it. It sounds right, you know? But the Dharma is saying, no, it's not like that. Because on the other side, it says, the wisdom point is, they are all phenomena with no exception, at least on this side of confusion. On this side of confusion, even the notion of becoming Buddha is dreamlike and illusion-like. Right? So if you really understand these two, you can see how right now they are kind of going in different directions. At least our definition of what we think compassion requires us to commit to, and what wisdom, on the other hand, implies, right? They are going in different direction. So to perfect them is more how to bring these two, this big paradox, more and more non-dual, inseparable. So Buddhists can do the impossible because they understand that it's illusion-like, because it says, right, in the Zen tradition, the Bodhisattva vow is in 4 lines. It says, sentient beings are boundless, and I vow to liberate all of them. I mean, the sentence doesn't make sense. Boundless means boundless. How can you liberate all? Because all is in there. But I vow that. How is it possible? Only a Buddha can do that. Only Buddhists can do that. Where their compassion and wisdom is oneness. In general, whatever stages of accumulation and purification one does, and so here accumulation and purification is a succinct way of saying, what is the path? The path is purifying afflictive emotions. Accumulation here is giving rise to the Buddha qualities. So whatever stages of accumulation and purification one does, the preliminary practice is generating, arousing, dreamlike and illusion-like bodhicitta, whether in the extensive, middling, or concise forms, which he just explained. Yeah? Now even this bodhicitta is dreamlike and illusion-like. Then the main practice is experiencing all phenomena to be like dreams, like illusions. Because of how we tend to think about what is real and therefore what we need to do, here, right, to say that all experiences, all phenomena is dreamlike, illusion-like, what is the main thing being said here? The main implication, that they are dreamlike and illusion-like. And therefore they are not real. And therefore what?
There's no beginning. You can't.
This is your, like your projection. There is a dreamer, like you're being.
No, there's no dreamer also.
Okay.
They're interdependent and
mutable,
changeable. That's the main point. They are not immutable. They are mutable. They can change. Therefore, suffering can end. Our logic is like, only by making suffering real will we kick into action. But the Dharma's way of looking at it is saying, if suffering is real, then it's immutable. Then we are all screwed. And so the point of seeing that experiences, beings, all of this is illusion-like, dream-like, is to tell us we don't need to be stuck in this mess. And therefore, action. Therefore, do something about it because it can change.
So, saying it's illusion-like, it's just a reference to saying that it's not permanent, that it
Yes. So then there's the later here. Yeah? We'll see. So the main practice is experiencing all phenomena to be like dreams or illusions. Then the subsequent practice, this is called at the end. Right? It's a technical term, subsequent practice. The subsequent practice, or the practice subsequent to the main, is dedicating the dream-like and illusion-like roots of virtue to the benefit of sentient beings. Then, like a dream or illusion, the one who dedicates, you can say the dreamer, but here is the context of dedicating merit. The one who dedicates, sentient beings who are the object of dedication, and all the roots of virtue arising from what is dedicated, are non-different from one's own mind. And should be known as the miraculous display of mind itself, non-dual by nature. This does point to the subjectivity end of things. That is the display of your own mind. But this display of your own mind, I think a question that Judy raised on another occasion, is, of course, you should not let it, turn into like, oh, it's not my problem if you want to be angry, and you continue to behave like a jerk. You can't distort Mahamudra this way. Here, the take-home lesson of like, everything that you experience is what you experience. Can you see that? In fact, it's the opposite of, I'm not responsible for what you feel, when in fact, you're doing all sorts of things to provoke people, and you say, well, I don't own this, you own this, because you decided you want to suffer. In fact, it's the opposite of this. Here is saying, it's your display. And so if in this display is getting ugly, it's your ugliness. Now go fix it. Yeah, if you is experiencing this as ugly, well, yeah, where does the ugliness come from? Comes from you. Now go change it. We might say, well, no, it's not, I cannot change. Well, why not? It's your projection. is the miraculous display of your mind. Yes, you can. Yeah, just a lot of work to do, Yeah, so this is the first teaching in this collection. And I think, we start with the Bodhicitta. And then the next one, which we're not going to look at today, the next one I suggested is to look at 82. So you can look at that. 82, just to give you some idea. So not 82, 82, yeah. Is listening to the Dharma with perfect intention and application. Here, really, Gampopa says, why are you listening to the Dharma? I mean, it seems kind of obvious. Well, because ... Not really. Because despite what we say, often what we do when we're listening to Dharma is something other than what we think we are listening to Dharma. So here is him teaching us how to really, it's like they say, what was the saying? Don't go to, what is it? I cannot. What is this expression? I don't even remember which culture. Is there a saying in English, or like in American English, don't go somewhere, right, and come back with the wrong, like they're famous for this, but then you come back with something else. Like, is there an expression like that or no?
Coals to Newcastle is,
What?
you don't take coals to Newcastle.
Oh yeah, this is more like, Newcastle has coal. You don't, but this is more. So it's not in English. Yeah, it's some other culture. I forgot which one. Like like don't go to somewhere that is famous for something and come back with something else. No, don't go to the market for milk is a reference to, because market milk is mixed with water. You should just milk it from the cow that is outside your house. Yeah, that's what that reference is. Yeah, so each of you should have a cow outside of your house. Then you get real milk. Because when you go to the market, they're going to mix the milk with water.
Barbershop.
Yeah.
Free mowing,
Huh?
free mowing.
Yeah. So anyway, here, so when we have the Dharma, we want to know, how should we relate to it when we're learning the Dharma so that it doesn't turn into something else? And this particular teaching does, kind of bring into clarity how we often do those other things. We think we are actually learning, but we're not actually. Because we are used to our way of learning, which is, I need to ask this, I need to ask this, I need to ask this, I need to ask this. And Gampopa says, are you sure? When you're doing this, you're really doing something else. So don't learn like this. So this is a kind of a type of, how do you learn? How do you learn the Dharma for what it's intended to do for you? So this is in the next teaching. It says, not for the sake of wanting fame for oneself, but with the intention of liberating others. Not for the sake of gaining wealth and honor, but with the intention of attaining all-knowing wisdom. Not for the sake of winning arguments, but with the intention of conquering afflictive emotions. Not for the sake of finding fault with the Dharma teacher, but with the intention of respecting the Dharma and that respecting the teacher and the Dharma for others. Also a kind of a peculiar expression there, but we'll look at that. And even here, dream and illusion comes back again. Knowing everything as dream and illusion. This is a theme throughout this collection. Gampopa reminds us. The ultimate status of all our experiences is dreamlike, illusion-like. He doesn't say, it's a dream, it's an illusion. It's like a dream, like an illusion. It has qualities, meaning when you look at dreams, how dreams function, how dreams come about, how a magician's illusions conjure up and has the power to do. Likewise, our lives, our reality have those qualities, is what he's saying. Dream-like, illusion-like. Often we think we know what it doesn't. It's the opposite, in fact. Often we think, oh, dream-like, illusion-like, that means, doesn't matter. It's not, doesn't matter. Dream-like, illusion-like has different implications than it doesn't matter. It matters. And then, because it matters, you can do the impossible. If it wasn't a dream and if it wasn't an illusion, if it doesn't have dream qualities and illusion qualities, then yes, what you can do about it is quite limited. But precisely because it has those qualities, you can do more than you think about the situation. Okay.